This is something that's very overdue. I think that actually Jane Roe, which was an anonymous name that she was given in order to protect her identity during the case, I think that she realized that this case was, she has come out openly and said that she's regretted her abortion before.
Really?
Not a lot of people know that. Yes, a lot of people don't know that she has actually came out and said that she regrets having her abortion. And and I hate to draw this parallel, but I'm going to, slavery, right? People thought that black slaves were not humans in the 1800s. We are on we're fighting for the unborn to be recognized as humans. That's what pro-lifers are doing. And people thought that they were crazy back then, too. The people who were fighting Republicans naturally back in the 1800s, they were also fighting for the rights of black slaves, or, well, to at least be recognized as humans. And they were seen as crazies, wingnuts. And they were like, no, you're fascist and blah, 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 and you hate America and stuff like that. That's exactly what was happening in the 1800s. So I think that you fast forward, and this is just a step in the right direction to recognizing them as humans. States taking this over, I do see where there is going to be some legal regimes taking place. There is going to be a whole different conversation, a whole different attitudes towards states working together. So if I go have an abortion in Connecticut and I live in Missouri, how is Connecticut and Missouri going to work this out where they can actually, or if somebody comes here to Illinois and has an abortion and then they go back to their red state? Like, what if the red state finds out, and what are they going to do to Illinois that performs that? It's going to be tough, but I think that it needs to be done because we are fighting for the recognition of the unborn as human. Like, we are fighting to recognize unborn children as humans. Mm-hmm. And it's a fight that needs to be done, or had.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to people that say, what about women who get pregnant because of rape?
Oh, gosh.
You hear that a lot. So
yes, a lot. Way too much for it to even. So rape, right, it only accounts for 0.01% and in total. So rape, incest, or defects with the birth or problematic pregnancies within the mother. That accounts for 3% of all abortions. 97% of all abortions come from socioeconomic reasons. At least that's what they've pulled. And I don't know where I got that from, but I can give you show notes.
Sure.
But it's just a stat that has stuck with me because it's not even relevant to really talk about, but I'll talk about it. I do think that if you are raped, that is a tragedy. And, being somebody who really has had a type of experience, and I know a lot of people, I think 1 in every 3 women are sexually assaulted, 1 in every 5 women are raped, which is kind of alarming that number isn't even higher for abortions, right? Because we have a lot of women who are raped. There is something that you can take when you go into a hospital. If you were a rape victim, you can take a pill. They'll give you a pill and they ask you there. So you do have the choice to eliminate your pregnancy there. And then you can take that pill up to, I forget how many days, but you can go back in and take that pill, and it's a medically induced abortion. I'm actually an advocate for that. A medically induced abortion that kind of just wipes it. Now, I do believe life starts at conception, but there are exceptions to that right? If you don't want it, and if you don't want to continue to full term or to at least 6 weeks, then you can do that. I think that was a reasonable response. The question isn't whether, we are in a spot where we have to start looking at the numbers, and we have to start looking at the abuses of abortion. It's not like rape victims are abusing abortion, right? A lot of them do take that pill as soon as they come in, and I'm okay with that. I have a problem with taking a baby out of somebody's womb via forceps, or, and I'm not even for really birth control, because I do believe life starts at conception, and if it's God's plan, it's God's plan. But I would even say to a rape victim, what is this going to do to you on an emotional level, a mental level? And is this going to help you in aborting life that was, come about an unfortunate even isn't a strong enough word, but a devastating way it was bestowed upon you, this child? Is it going to make you feel better taking that life away? And if they say yes, I am okay. Well, you have to accept that you are taking away a life. And I do think that there are good examples of taking away a life. Sometimes, you just don't. We do it all the time, right? If somebody were to barge into my house, I'd shoot them, right? And I would feel justified in doing that. There's a degree of violence that is acceptable. And we have to recognize that that's killing a baby. And is it just? Yes, if a rape victim is doing it and they're doing it medically induced and it's not 6 weeks into the pregnancy or 7 weeks, 10 weeks, 15, 20.
Okay. Well, for the sake of being logically consistent here, I want you to elaborate on this a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you say life does begin at conception, and in the case of a standard third trimester abortion, you're killing a baby, but you will also say that when you take, one of those abortion pills immediately after a rape, that if that does end a pregnancy, that too is killing a baby. Mm-hmm. But you're saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, although that is still killing a baby, it's morally permissible to do that in the case of rape, but only in those slim cases. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say it's just. I don't know if it's morally. I would even say that that's not morally right. So if I was faced with that predicament, and as a woman, I would not abort because there is something to be said about morality. I think that it's just to kill a baby after you've been raped because of the way that baby came about. I just think that I don't think it's morally right to kill a baby, but I do think that it's just in some way, shape, or form. And we're talking like small amount of people this happens to.
I think I at least have to really respect your ability to not use euphemisms and to just say what you think very clearly. I mean, you said it right there. I've never heard anyone say it so clearly, but you're saying the truth. This is actually what you believe. You're saying that I believe that it's morally, or that it's just to kill a baby in the instance of rape. And, although I don't agree with you personally, I at least respect that you put it clearly. You were honest.
It's
sometimes
just.
People, they say like, women's rights, I want to protect women's rights. And it's like, what's that mean? Because does that mean you can kill a baby a minute before it exits the female body? And people just use these general umbrella terms that imply something totally different. They're euphemisms. They're nice sounding things for terrible things. But again, I really like that you're
killing a baby. And
right.
If I was faced with that decision, I would evaluate and I'd be like, am I going to kill this baby or am I going to carry it to term? And if you're all right with the act of killing, and some people are, I don't know if I'd be able to kill somebody. I've never been in that predicament. I would like to think that if in the act of, and in a way, in the moment of being raped, there's no way to defend yourself, right? In a way, the act of killing that baby is the act of defense. You don't want your rapist to continue to traumatize you. And that's where I think a rape victim would say, yeah, I'm going to abort this baby. I'm going to kill this baby because this is my act of defense. I was defenseless here, but I'm going to abort this baby, kill this baby, and this is my act of defense. And that's where I think rape victims, get their final act of defense. And that's why I think it's just like it would be just if I popped somebody who came into my house and threatened me. I would justify that and say, well, that was my act of defense. I would say that killing a baby in that moment, medically induced, not waiting a long time. You have to, and that's where the convolution and where we use those euphemisms, like you were talking about, Paul, is dangerous because you just have to be honest with a rape victim. That they're going through a lot. You've got to be honest with a rape victim and just say, are you willing to kill this baby or do you want to carry it to term? And they have to make all kinds of decisions, thereafter. They have to make all kinds of decisions and grapple with what had just happened with them. I think the last thing that they want is a euphemism, I would imagine. Yeah.